about it. So Blizzard has been very busy. They've been very busy, ladies and gentlemen. Blizzard has been extremely busy. Now, if you guys are unaware, Blizzard has successfully taken down the private server Turtle WoW. I made a video on that. If you guys missed it, go check it out. They've also successfully taken down recently a couple of more live private servers because they sent them cease and desist letters, and the private servers are not even bothering to fight back, which I don't blame them because they really can't fight back, right? Like you guys are stealing someone else's game. You're hosting a private server. You have no legal ground to stand on. As much as people love private servers, just understand when you're playing on it, you have no... Well, I'm sorry, when you're hosting it, you have no legal ground. I know people don't want to hear it, but that's the fucking truth. Anyway. So Blizzard has been very busy from the litigation standpoint, but you know what they weren't busy with? They apparently were not busy actually making sure that their retail game was running properly. And I find all this to be hilarious because they spent all this time taking down the private servers that people actually were enjoying playing on because those people were doing the updates and making content, and especially Turtle WoW. They were doing all these things, whatever. They spend all their time, money to litigate private servers, but apparently they could not make sure that their retail actual video game, the one that they want people to pay for, they couldn't make sure that it was running properly. So lately, people have been discovering a ton of bugs with World of Warcraft Midnight, which is their latest expansion that they've come out with, to the point where Blizzard now had to issue an apology publicly because it was that bad. Okay? It was that bad. So let's go over it and let's talk about it and see what's going on here. So World of Warcraft has issued a formal apology for the troubled launch of Midnight Patch 12.0.5 and has committed to fix its myriad of problems and do better in subsequent releases. This statement came shortly after the release of World of Warcraft Midnight Patch 12.05 on April 21st, which was riddled with glitches and exploits. You got to love that, right? Imagine, did they vibe code it? Probably. Imagine being convinced to play retail WoW, right? Imagine being like a private server player, and they're like, you know what? Fine. I'm going to go support Blizzard and try WoW again. The new expansion's out. Let me see what it has to offer. And their first step out the gate, they got glitches and bugs out the ass, bro. Like, how would you feel? How would you feel? In the aftermath of the rocky launch of World of Warcraft's 12.05 update, Blizzard has formally apologized for the disruptions caused by the faulty patch. In a blog post on social media, World of Warcraft recognized the justified frustration of the community and admitted that the update was not up to our standards. What is even your standards anymore? Like, you know, I remember a day, and maybe you guys who played World of Warcraft in the chat, maybe you can reminisce with me a little bit. I remember a day where Blizzard would make you wait until you're fucking old and dead before they would release a patch that was even remotely broken. They would make you wait. It became a meme, right? Soon TM became a meme where every single time somebody would ask on the forums, hey, so when is this patch supposed to come out? All the blue developers, you know, because they have blue profiles, all they would do is respond to on the forums and they would say, soon. That's it. That was literally it. Because they would always tell you that they're not going to rush the patch. It didn't matter how long it took. They were always going to make sure that it was up to standard. They were always going to make sure of that. And that became even more prevalent from the Burning Crusade onwards, right? In Vanilla WoW, it was a little bit rough because they weren't ready for that level of success. They got that level of success. They built their servers to be stronger. They added more servers. They did everything they could, and then they eventually figured it out and made it work properly all around the. But it ran relatively pretty good. But that used to be a thing. Not so much anymore, right? Not so much anymore. So anyway, apparently it was confirmed that the developers were working around the clock to fix the update and that they would learn from mistakes, communicate more openly, and do better in subsequent releases. Here's my problem. How do you convince someone, like how many expansions is this now for World of Warcraft? How do you convince someone you are brother, you are on patch 12.0.5. You have released so many expansions for this video game. You've been running since 2003? You've been running for more than 2 fucking decades. How are you still making mistakes is beyond me. Beyond me, because from what I remember, when you guys were releasing expansion, it ran pretty fucking decent. There's a reason why, I believe it was Wrath of the Lich King. There's a reason why Wrath of the Lich King had separate starting zones, where for the first time ever, they allowed you to choose your starting zone, is because they knew that they were so popular, and they knew that Wrath of the Lich King was going to be their most popular expansion, that they separated starting zones to make it easier for the server to be able to keep up. So they built the entire zone of Northrend to be able to handle the influx of players that they were having. So how the fuck are you still making mistakes 20 years later? 20 years later. I already know how. It's a rhetorical question. But I'm just saying, right? Like, how are you going to convince people that you are still somehow making mistakes on one of the oldest MMORPGs that is still running to this day? It's crazy. But anyway, so apparently they say that they're going to learn from their mistakes, communicate more openly, and do better in subsequent releases. Though many of these problems have been resolved in hotfixes, since the updates released, there were countless glitches that arose in the patch, and some fairly major bugs have been discovered. So here's just a couple of examples. You guys ready for this? Check this out. Hunters were able to use track humanoids in decor duels, trivializing the process of finding hiders. Well, that's stupid. Hiders who were too good at hiding in decor duels were flagged as AFK and received no rewards. Well, that's pretty stupid. Player housing broke and was deactivated for nearly 24 hours. Oh, I'm sure the women were very angry about that. When it returned, gamers reported their houses and decor had been shifted and the designs ruined. That's rough. Void incursion progress bars vanished, or the entire event failed to trigger on certain phase layers. The Void Forge gave duplicate items, and the first Void Forge vault purchase failed to award the correct amount of currency. Grammatical errors and typos were discovered in ritual sites and decor duels. You're having grammatical errors? You're having grammatical errors 20 years later. Brother, you have AI. You can't just use that. Oh, I forgot. You guys are so anti-AI. I forgot. I'm sorry. You're too good for AI, right? I'm sorry. Holy shit. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time World of Warcraft has released a patch to not meet its standards. Most notably, World of Warcraft patch 11.1.5 from May 2025 was also notoriously buggy and poorly received. So you clearly did not learn, right? You clearly did not learn from your previous fuck up, which was your previous expansion in the previous year. You didn't learn. So how the fuck are we supposed to believe that you're going to learn from this? You're not. Let's be real. They're not going to learn. They're going to do it again. They're going to do it again. They're going to keep doing it again, because whoever is running WoW right now, whoever's developing these games right now, these are not the people that made your favorite game. If you are a major fan of old school World of Warcraft, perhaps you haven't played in a few years or whatever, you're better off, because these are not the same people that made that game. People make video games. So when those people leave and they're gone, you're left with just retards running the ship. But anyway, apparently it was poorly received, which prompted a similar apology from World of Warcraft when it promised to do better. So what, did you just recycle the same apology? Wait a second. They promised to do better in that last fuck up. While the following 10x5 and 10x7 patches in the War Within were generally more polished in 11.1.5, they still had issues on their own. So they've been having issues nonstop for a while, it seems. Which, again, all of this raises the question of whether World of Warcraft is releasing content too quickly. Since Dragonflight, most World of Warcraft updates have arrived around 8 weeks after the last one, accelerating the cycle of WoW expansions to a year and a half rather than 2 years. However, despite assertions that this faster cadence would not impact quality, many fans believe updates like patch 11.1.5 and 12.05 are proof that this is not the case. Well, it's obvious. It's obvious that it's not the case, right? I feel like I feel like at this point, Blizzard. I don't even. Again, it's not even the same Blizzard, bro. Like we don't. We could talk about Activision, but Activision has been involved for a long time. We could talk about Microsoft because they just bought Activision Blizzard, so they're a little bit new to the party. But I'm not going to put. I'll be real with you. I'm not putting blame on Microsoft for this. I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know they just bought Activision Blizzard, and I know people want to treat them like the big bad guy, but I'm not putting it on Microsoft. I'm putting this directly on Activision fucking Blizzard. They've been doing this shit before Microsoft, and they're going to do it after Microsoft, just richer. That's basically it. This is them. They're the ones who are fucking up. Whatever their hiring process is, whatever their training process is, whatever their fucking developers that they have there, they're the ones that are fucking this up. Plain and simple. So, I don't know, man. I know some people that still play WoW. And I try to talk to them. I'm like, what do you see in World of Warcraft that has you still playing? And it's funny because a lot of them tell me pretty much the same answer, which is, well, I have so much time invested that I don't want to like, you know, I don't want to walk away from it completely. Like they'll go back, they'll play it casually just to like be up to speed. But then that's basically it. They have, you know, a lot of them that I know that are playing WoW have been playing WoW for over 2 decades. So I'm not gonna lie, it is hard. It is absolutely hard to give that up. I get it. I absolutely get it. Like they don't want to exactly sunk cost fallacy. They don't want to feel like it was all for nothing. When anybody with a brain knows it's all for nothing. Like everything is all for nothing if you're playing video games for the most part. It's just for fun. Have a good time in the moment, right? But I'd rather just, you know, I moved on after Wrath of the Lich King, and that's basically it. Smells like vibe coding issue. You know, it's funny you say that vibe coding issue because how many times have we seen this with Blizzard in all avenues, by the way, where they'll do this thing, and it's crazy because it's not even just Blizzard. Other video games at Activision too have the same similar problem. This is why I blame them. I don't blame Microsoft because Microsoft just took over. This is Activision Blizzard. This is them doing this bullshit. And then the fact that they apologized, right, for the first patch. I guarantee you there was a patch before that they apologized for. And then they decided to apologize in the same manner with this patch. What's going to happen with patch 13? It's going to be the same shit. You guys are going to be out here apologizing. We're sorry. We're going to learn. We're going to do better. You guys aren't learning shit. You're not learning anything, you know? The CEO of WoW now is a 40 to 50-year-old female. Listen, I don't give a fuck. All right? Whether you got a vagina, whether you got a dick, get the job done. I don't give a fuck what's in between your legs. All right? There isn't that many great female CEOs, but there are some really fucking good female CEOs out there. There's some, if you follow like, I'm not talking about money that you know about. I'm talking about female business owners that you don't know about, right? Like I've read up on a lot of them, just reading up on CEOs and their business strategies and all this shit. There are some really, really good female CEOs out there. So this excuse about like, oh, well, it's run by a female. If she's doing a bad job, replace her with someone who is going to do a good job. Whether it's a female or male, get them in there. Now, chances are it's probably going to be a male because most males tend to go this career route. That's just how it goes, you know? That's how Mother Nature, you know, has everything set up. But at the end of the day, get the fucking job done. I don't want to hear about this shit about, oh, it's a female CEO. So get her the fuck out. If she sucks, get her the fuck out. I saw what she was saying about World of Warcraft, how she said that, again, she was trying to say that Chris Metzen said that World of Warcraft was apparently too strong of a name, that they feel like it's too strong. The moment I heard that, I was like, yeah, this bitch is retarded. she's retarded. Like, get her out. Like, if you are in charge of a video game like World of Warcraft, and you're saying that you wish you could change the name because Warcraft is too intimidating, get her the fuck out. You know what I mean? Get her straight the fuck out. Replace her with someone who's not stupid, because that was stupid. That was stupid. You don't hear about them because they're doing their job. Exactly. You never hear about someone's success. You only hear about when they fuck up. Ironically. So I don't know, man. I know that a lot of people are playing WoW because they don't want to give up their time invested in the game, but I got to be real with you. You're going to have to walk away at some point. You're going to have to walk away at some point, man. Otherwise, I don't know. You're just giving money to these people just so they can fuck it up all over again.